the one case, we're going to put every single text message, every single document, everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own conclusions, and they can determine whether or not there was sexual harassment here, there was a smear campaign, or there was retaliation, because we have proof.
For years, Ryan Reynolds seemed like the perfect Hollywood figure, a charismatic actor who could do no wrong. From his iconic portrayal of Deadpool to his playful social media presence, he won people over with his humor and quick wit. But as glowing as his reputation might appear, there are whispers and rumors behind the scenes suggesting that not everyone is a fan. Some claim he's controlling, some say he's deeply insecure, and others accuse him of straight-up rudeness. It turns out these allegations aren't just coming from random sources. Over time, multiple co-stars, ex-partners, and even prominent directors have hinted that there's more to Ryan than meets the eye. From heated on-set showdowns to quiet snubs and relationship drama, this undercurrent of criticism keeps building. If you've ever wondered what might lie beneath Ryan's charming public persona, prepare to be surprised by the stories we're about to uncover. The Jersey Shore rudeness, Sammy Giancola and Dina Cortese's encounter reality. TV stars Sammy Giancola and Dina Cortese once shared a story about a rude celebrity they ran into. At first, Sammy tried to keep the name a secret, but Dina couldn't hold back any longer. The culprit, they revealed, was Ryan Reynolds. According to them, he was blatantly dismissive when they tried to approach him, brushing them off without even a hint of polite conversation. What's particularly striking is that Sammy and Dina still tried to defend him, perhaps to avoid blowback for naming such a major Hollywood A-lister. They kept emphasizing that they love Ryan Reynolds in general, and that maybe he was just having a bad day. But the fact that both of them felt he was rude enough to bring up on a public platform says a lot. It also signals a pattern.
Terrified if I wasn't working on back-to-back, which was great because I was young and productive and it was awesome.
Even smaller-scale celebrities seem intimidated by the idea of calling him out directly. It's one thing for a reality star to get a cold shoulder. But as we'll see, far more established actors have echoed the same sentiment. Rebecca Ferguson's traumatizing on-set experience. Unnamed absolute idiot, co-star British actress Rebecca Ferguson once opened up about a horrible experience with a co-star who she described as an absolute idiot. This person was so deeply insecure and angry that he ended up screaming at her on set, creating a hostile environment. Because this actor was number one on the call sheet, no one stood up for her. She recalls feeling vulnerable and uncomfortable, practically left to fend for herself. Rebecca never mentioned the name, but speculation quickly focused on the movie Life, where she starred alongside Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. Fans sleuthed around, noticing her attempts to avoid promotional events with her co-stars. Suddenly, it made sense. If someone harassed her during filming, she'd have good reason to steer clear of any joint PR opportunities. While some fans assumed the culprit could be Jake, recent rumors point heavily toward Ryan, especially given other similar stories.
Crazy about this one was it was the best filming experience I've ever had. You know, working with basically Q and I, what you see is what you get, genuinely. He's been my closest friend for 17 years.
A courageous stand. What makes Rebecca's account even more revealing is her follow-up remarks. After she initially opened up, she said several colleagues warned her about speaking out. She stood her ground, insisting that if someone is genuinely kind, they wouldn't need to worry about what she'd said. Her words implied that her tormentor was playing the nice guy in public, but acting entirely differently behind the scenes. Another star from the same movie has also drifted away from Ryan, suggesting that Rebecca wasn't the only one to see his darker side. Jake Gyllenhaal's vanishing friendship from tight bond to icy distance. Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds once appeared to be great friends. During the press tour for Life, they were inseparable, cracking jokes and generating viral interview clips. Their apparent chemistry was so strong that people hoped they'd team up in future projects. Then, everything changed. Recently, Jake's tone toward Ryan has shifted. In interviews, he dodges questions about Reynolds or dismisses them with a laugh that feels far from genuine. When pressed about any ongoing friendship, Jake essentially brushed it off, refusing to give details. In one interview, he flashed a stern expression and hinted that something serious had happened. The abrupt coldness raised eyebrows, fueling the narrative that Ryan might not be as charming behind the scenes as he appears on camera. But Ryan's tension with co-stars didn't stop at life. Multiple people from the Deadpool films also have their own stories to tell.
John Levy's our third movie together. I have never felt a set closer and that cared for each other more than this film. And the end product.
Deadpool drama, T.J. Miller and Morena Baccarin. T.J. Miller's bitter exit. Comedian T.J. Miller played Weasel in the first two Deadpool movies, serving as a sidekick who bantered with Ryan Reynolds' titular character. On screen, their chemistry appeared spot on. Off camera, it was reportedly a different story. T.J. has publicly stated he'd never work with Ryan again, even if offered a huge payday. He recounted a disturbing moment when Ryan, still in character, turned to him and delivered a barrage of mean-spirited lines. It wasn't playful teasing, according to TJ. It was specifically meant to belittle him. Ryan supposedly reminded him he wasn't the star, that he was merely around to keep the comedic momentum before the real movie resumed. TJ interpreted that as Ryan's thinly veiled way of asserting dominance. Perhaps it was an attempt to highlight a gap in their levels of fame, reflecting insecurities masked as humor. For TJ, it crossed a line he couldn't ignore. Morena Baccarin's reduced role. Meanwhile, Morena Baccarin, who played Vanessa in the Deadpool series, went from one of the most pivotal characters in the first film to a very limited presence afterward. She even seemed excluded from certain promotional events and red carpet opportunities. The rumor mill suggests she had a disagreement with Ryan about her character's direction or possibly certain jokes in the script, and that friction led to her being sidelined. Despite being so central to Deadpool's storyline, she suddenly felt peripheral, as if someone in power wanted her pushed out of the spotlight. These behind-the-scenes clashes paint a picture of someone who's comfortable using influence to keep the upper hand. And it doesn't stop in Hollywood. Ryan's love life has also been a roller coaster of rumors involving control and jealousy. Romantic turmoil. Ex-wives and fiancés speak out. Scarlett Johansson's take. Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson tied the knot in 2008, becoming one of the most talked-about power couples in Hollywood. Not long after, Scarlett's career skyrocketed with major Marvel roles. According to her own comments, jealousy and controlling behavior crept into the relationship.
Maybe we see a Deadpool 4?
Oh God, no. My wife and children will divorce me, and
The kids will divorce
Jimmy,
you?
I have no prenup with any of them.
She disliked passive-aggressive jealousy, calling it unattractive and rooted in insecurity. Though she never directly named Ryan, fans noticed she spoke about these issues right after their divorce. Scarlett also hinted that in any relationship between two actors, if one starts booking bigger roles, friction can arise. At the time, Scarlett was landing massive Marvel contracts, while Ryan's breakthrough as Deadpool was still a few years away. The dynamic, she implied, was volatile enough to wreck their marriage. And considering Ryan's rumored controlling streak on set, it's easy to see how it might have extended into his personal life. Alanis Morissette's pain. Before Ryan married Scarlett, he was engaged to singer Alanis Morissette for about 2 years. Their long relationship ended in heartbreak, and Alanis poured her devastation into her music. One of her songs mentioned insecurity. Some fans believe it directly pointed at Ryan. The repeated references to him being insecure have popped up from multiple angles: exes, co-stars, and comedic peers. But romantic and personal tension is only half the story. Filmmakers and directors have also clashed with Ryan, especially when creative power struggles erupted. Directors and filmmakers who parted ways, Tim Miller and Deadpool Tim Miller directed the first Deadpool film, which catapulted Ryan to new heights. For the sequel, however, Tim abruptly stepped away. He later revealed that Ryan wanted tight control over the franchise, everything from the script to major creative decisions.
Maybe we see a Deadpool 4?
Oh God, no. My wife and children will divorce me, and
The kids will divorce
Jimmy,
you?
I have no prenup with any of them.
Tim wasn't willing to be micromanaged or outvoted on every point, so he left. According to him, the collaborative environment evaporated once Ryan established himself as the face of Deadpool. Quentin Tarantino's dismissal legendary filmmaker Quentin Tarantino also chimed in, albeit in a more roundabout way. He mentioned how Ryan had struck lucrative deals with Netflix, pocketing massive amounts of money for movies that, in Tarantino's words, just don't seem to exist in the cultural conversation. It was a blunt way of saying Ryan's films might be popular for a quick streaming hit, but they leave no lasting impact on Hollywood's creative landscape. Chris Columbus shuts down Stoned Alone. Chris Columbus, who directed the original Home Alone, didn't hold back when Ryan pitched a reboot called Stoned Alone, a comedic and more adult spin on the beloved holiday film. Chris labeled it an outright insult, believing it was a disrespectful reimagining of a family classic. That's strong criticism coming from the man behind the original franchise. Gerard Butler's subtle dig. Another star who dropped a hint about not being impressed by Ryan's work was Gerard Butler. When asked about similarities between his film Gamer and Ryan's Free Guy, Butler claimed he'd never even heard of Free Guy and didn't watch Ryan's movies.
I will be capital B broke, and in turn, probably then doing Deadpool 4.
Yeah. So we cannot make that happen.
It might have been a simple oversight, but it sure came across as a not-so-subtle dismissal. When so many co-stars, ex-partners, and respected filmmakers share run-ins with the same individual, it's hard not to question the carefully curated public image. A pattern of control and ego. Let's step back and piece everything together. On multiple sets, Ryan Reynolds allegedly exercises strong creative or personal control. In some instances, it leads to people being shouted down, mocked, or sidelined altogether if they challenge him. The same thread emerges from his personal relationships: jealousy, insecurity, and a tendency to overshadow partners if his own career isn't front and center. Even major directors like Tim Miller have walked away rather than keep clashing with him. This doesn't mean Ryan can't also be the witty, charming guy fans see in interviews or on social media. Perhaps both sides are true. Publicly, he's playful and magnetic, but behind closed doors, the demands of Hollywood success feed his insecurities. That might manifest as controlling or defensive behavior whenever someone challenges him. But how do we separate rumor from truth? It's time to wrap up the biggest revelations and leave the final judgment to you. Conclusion. Ryan Reynolds remains one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. He's been hailed for his comedic timing, social media savvy, and general likability. Yet a number of people, ranging from Jersey Shore cast members to A-list co-stars, and from top directors to ex-wives, have stepped forward with accounts of him being insecure, controlling, or just plain rude. All of these stories share striking similarities. He exerts a level of dominance in his projects and personal life that can leave others feeling ignored or undermined. It raises the question, does Ryan Reynolds maintain that fun-loving persona simply for the cameras, or is there a more complex side to him that not everyone sees? Ultimately, Hollywood is filled with high-pressure situations, big egos, and stories that sometimes get distorted. Maybe Ryan's not the villain some claim he is, or maybe the endless rumors point to a fundamental truth about how he operates behind the scenes. What's certain is that his public image and private reputation don't seem to match perfectly. Final thought. Is Ryan Reynolds the charming everyman he appears to be, or have these controversies finally given us a glimpse of his true personality? Let us know what you think. If you have your own stories, theories, or opinions, jump down to the comments and share your voice. After all, in the world of Hollywood, there's always more than meets the eye.